All right, we are ready to start rendering our plan. We have this export that we made in Illustrator. It's this combination of hand drafted and vector line work. And I pulled this image from the presentation from last week because I really like this level of rendering for the site plan. So I'm going to do a version of this. It's not going to look exactly like this, but I've got a couple of tools here and I'm ready to start rendering. I opened this PNG we exported from Illustrator. I just opened this in Photoshop. I'm in Photoshop now. I've got my layers down here at the right. I'm going to add a layer. But before I do that, I'm going to do a couple of things. I am first going to select all of the rain gardens. And I'm going to use my magic wand tool. I'm going to use this guy right here. It's my magic wand tool. If you're not seeing it, you can click this little arrow and it'll give you some more options. You can also use the W key, not Command W, just W on your keyboard. So I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to click these because these are my stormwater um, areas. And then I'm going to select the inverse here. And then I'm going to call this, or I'm sorry, I'm going to save the selection and I'm going to call this Stormwater Management, SWM. And then I will have that one. This one is my lawn area. And I'm going to select inverse again. And then I'm going to save selection again because I'll have it for when I need it. And this is my lawn, and I'm just going to call it that. Now, I realized after the fact that the paving here is not, because of the fact that this is a transparency, it didn't allow me to save it all as one color. I have a couple of options here. I can either change the tolerance and try something that allows me a bit more leverage. Oh, and that worked perfectly. See, because there's not a lot of variation, it's mostly gray. The higher my tolerance is, the more liberal that selection will be. So that's actually pretty good. And I think I want this street, oops. So I'm holding shift and I'm just holding those two things together. And I'm going to save this selection, call it, um, I'm going to save the inverse on this one again, and then save selection. And we'll call this pavers. I think I want it to be something that's like a cobblestone. So we'll just save those selections. So now I have my three kind of like generic areas. And then the other thing I've got here is I've got some trees. So it's basically like three kinds of space, right? We've got the paved area that's kind of like pedestrian. We've got the lawn area that's going to be kind of grassy, invite people for picnics, that kind of thing. And then the stormwater area that's much more planted and has a very specific purpose. I've also got these trees that I pulled off the internet. I just did a quick screen grab. I just Googled trees in plan. And then I think I maybe Googled like a hand render or something like that. And we can either remove the background, Command D, if you want to deselect. And then I think with this, there's it tends to overdo it with removing the background just because there's not a lot of contrast. So there's a couple of different ways that I can manipulate this. And then I also have this rain garden, which I think I'm actually just gonna copy and paste this right into um, the file that I want to work on. I'm going to edit, copy, and then come back to my map. And I'm gonna add, oh, I've already got a couple layers in here. I'm gonna call this one base, so don't forget. And then this one I'm going to call stormwater management. And this one I'm going to call lawn. Oops, might be helpful if I spell that right. And then I'll make another one called paving and another one called trees. Oops, trees. Delete this for now. Okay. Yes, I want to delete that. So I'm going to deselect. You can see that I had that paving area selected, and I'm going to paste in my stormwater management. Paste. There it is. You can see it came in on its own layer. That's totally fine. I'm going to just, oh, I've got it in there twice. So that's fine. I'm just going to kind of like move it into place, maybe like shrink it down, maybe rotate it just a little bit. I kind of like the way, and I'm using this tool right here, the move tool, and I can zoom in if I want to. Pardon me, if I zoom all over the place, I can zoom in if I want to. And I kind of want this to be, I want more of that rain garden look. So I'm going to kind of like move it into place, maybe manipulate it, edit, transform. I might distort or skew if I want to like get this kind of into this shape. You can see it starting to get to be the right shape. And then I'm gonna just copy this. I just held it and now I've got this as like a, and then I think I want to flip this vertical. Okay, yeah, I think I want this to just be kind of like a right here. And then I'm gonna delete part of this. I'm gonna use my eraser tool, this one, and it's on 250, which is I think pretty good. I like how soft this is because it allows me to have some flexibility and some freedom. And I'm just kind of like erasing as I go, just kind of like allowing it to blend together a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, I think I like the way that that looks. And then I'm going to load a selection. So I'm going to hit load selection and it's going to give me some options. So it'll let me select the document and the channel. And the channel is stormwater management. I can hit OK. And then I can just hit delete on my keyboard and it deletes anything that's outside of that stormwater management. And you can see that because this layer one copy is on its own layer, it didn't delete it. So I can hit delete again and that takes care of this little bit down here. I'm going to merge these two layers. So I held shift and I'm going to click merge. And then I'm going to use the clone stamp here because I want this grassy area to come all the way out to the edge. So I'm going to hit command and you can, or I'm sorry, option, and it gives me this little camera lens. And then it lets me, oops, I've still got that layer selected. So I'm going to hit select inverse and that'll have it go to the inverse. And then I can hit command or sorry, option. And then that lets me kind of paint in the excess around the edges. And if I need a new selection, I'm hitting option and then I'm just moving it over. So option and move it. This takes a little bit of finesse, but you'll get really used to it. So if I click over here and I'm still holding option and then I let go, it lets me do that color right there. I'm going to hit option again and then just move it down. And now you can see I've got this sort of like planted area. And then I can do that as many times as I need to. But in the interest of time, let's do the paving and the lawn, and then we can move on. So the grass I want to be this, I just Googled grass and I did some clone stamp and copy paste for this. And I'm going to edit, copy. I'm going to go back to my pen station and I'm going to hit paste, use my move tool, move it into place. I am going to load my select. Oh, I'm gonna hit enter because, oops. Okay, there we go. Select load selection. It's gonna give me some options. I want my lawn area. I'm gonna hit OK. And I'm on this layer right here, this lawn layer. I'm gonna hit delete, and that's gonna delete everything. I'm gonna merge these two. So now that's called lawn, and I know that that's there. And the stormwater, oops. Deselect, Control D, move this into place, sort of. Um, that's needed. And we'll play with this a little bit as we get going. So these three, I kind of want them to look the same. And then for the paving, let me open this one called Cobblestone, open with Adobe Photoshop. So this is the cobblestone, and I'm going to select all using my marquee tool. That's this one, and that's Command A. And then I'm just copying, edit, copy, and paste. And you can see it's pasting it into place here. And I'm just gonna, there's a couple ways to do this. I'm gonna copy and paste it a couple times, and then I'm gonna transform them, edit, transform, or Command T. And I can just move it over. And I might use the eraser button E just to kind of like make this look a little bit more seamless, kind of move it into place, and then merge those two, merge layers, and then copy those again and transform them, Command T, kind of get it into place, merge those again. And then, so what I'm doing is I'm sort of like multiplying this, and then as I move it around, I can pretty easily just kind of make it into a pattern. So my goal here, I'm going to just copy it a couple more times and then use my move tool to kind of move these into place. And then we'll use the clone stamp to make it look a little bit more finished. And then I'm going to use my insert tool. And then Control T, you can start to see it like, looks a little bit, it looks pretty good. This. Just patch these together a little bit and we'll get them more or less in line. And then I like to just erase. Oops, that's the clone stamp. That's not what I wanted. Oops. See? And you can use your move select tools to select the layer that you want to be on if you're not sure which layer you're on. And we'll just, oops, move tool here. Move this into place more or less. All right, that's good. And then you can kind of find a good spot for it, and then you can, delete as needed. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna merge all of these. I'm gonna hold Shift, and that'll let me merge. And now I think I'm ready to, let me do one more of these. And I'm using my move tool. You can see it starts to, have kind of a distinct pattern, but that's all right. I think, for what we need, um, it's it's pretty close. And then I'll merge those. And you can see that this is a very easy and quick way to just kind of have an overall pattern. And then the E, blend that in together. Okay, now I am gonna merge this one more time and then I'm gonna use the clone stamp. That's this guy right here. And I'm gonna increase the size here and I'm using the bracket key on my keyboard. You can, if you push, where does it show it? Um, I forget where it shows it. So I'm gonna hit option and then I'm gonna come over here and just um, make sure that I'm covering all of the street that I want to have be within that paved area. Just kind of copying and pasting or clone stamping around. And that, I think we're pretty good. And I might actually copy this layer just in case. And I'm going to turn one of these off. And then I'm on this one right here. Bring this up. I'm going to merge these two. Merge this. And we've got the paving layer. And then I'm going to select load selection. And I'm going to load my pavers selection and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit delete and it's going to delete everything that's not in my pavers. So now I've got this great paving pattern and I'm ready to finish this. But I will come back in just a second after I've finished my rain gardens and add some trees, and then we will be ready to bring it back into Illustrator.